For years, Anti-Tobacco has argued black Americans have been disproportionately targeted by the menthol industry, and President Biden is preparing to do something about it. As part of Biden's efforts to reduce health disparities highlighted by the pandemic, the FDA is expected to ban menthol cigarettes and cigars, which is preferred by 85% of black cigarette smokers.
If the FDA really acts and takes these products off the market, it'll be real hard to have a black market because they won't be being manufactured anymore. Black people aren't manufacturing, just like we don't manufacture bullets, we don't manufacture cigarettes either, but they're all over our community.
After several delays and lots of controversy, the Biden administration extinguished, for now, any plan to ban the sale of menthol cigarettes. Those are the cigarettes with an added chemical, menthol, that supposedly reduces irritation in a smoker's throat and airway. Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra said the administration had received, quote, an immense amount of feedback, including from various elements of the civil rights and criminal justice movement. It's clear that there are still more conversations to have, and that will take significantly more time.
Today we start with menthol cigarettes. The Biden administration will not be going through with their plan to ban these cigarettes, at least for the time being. What's interesting about this decision is not that they are deciding to not ban these cigarettes. These cigarettes should not be banned because if we supposedly live in a free country, something that is not hurting anybody but yourself should not be banned. The thing to take away from this story is that the Biden administration would like to ban these menthol cigarettes. However, a large chunk of their voting base uses these menthol cigarettes. So therefore, we need to kick the can down the road in the hopes that they will vote for us in 2024. And after that, they'll probably ban them anyways. On the note of the government banning things that are bad for you, but don't necessarily hurt anybody else, depending on the situation, let's take a look at a clip from the movie Demolition Man. It's a classic movie. I recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it. It is a great parallel to the world that's sort of being created today. But this is a character named Edgar Friendly who's talking about he should be able to do what he wants as a free man.
According to Cocteau's plan, I'm the enemy because I like to think. I like to read. I'm into freedom of speech and freedom of choice. I'm the kind of guy who likes to sit in a greasy spoon and wonder, gee, should I have the T-bone steak or the jumbo rack of barbecue ribs with the side order gravy fries? I want high cholesterol. I want to eat bacon and butter and buckets of cheese, okay? I want to smoke a Cuban cigar the size of Cincinnati in the non-smoking section. I want to run through the streets naked with green Jell-O all over my body reading Playboy magazine. Why? Because I suddenly might feel the need to, okay, pal? I've seen the future. You know what it is? It's a 47-year-old virgin sitting around in his beige pajamas drinking a banana broccoli shake singing, I'm an Oscar Mayer wiener. You live up top, you live Cocteau's way. What he wants, when he wants, how he wants. Your other choice, come down here, maybe starve to death.
Next, we have Joe Biden making up another story about being arrested.
And I looked at my mom, I said, honey, you haven't said anything. She said, Joey, remember, true story. She said, remember when they were desegregating Linfield, the neighborhood, there was, 70 homes built at one, suburbia. And I told you, and there was a black family moving in, and there was people who were down there protesting. I told you not to go down there, and you went down. Remember that? And you got arrested by standing on the porch with a black family.
Right. And
they brought you back, the police. And I said, yeah, Mom, I remember that.
Here he is talking about how he was arrested, visiting Nelson Mandela in South Africa, then saying, well, I actually wasn't arrested, I was just detained, when the truth of the matter was neither of those things actually happened.
Afterwards, he asked me to come by my office, and he came by to say thank you, because he heard I had been stopped trying to get to visit him and to see him in prison. Mm-hmm. And I had said once, I said I got arrested. I wasn't arrested, I got stopped. I had the great honor of meeting him. I had the great honor of being arrested with our UN ambassador on the streets of Soweto trying to get to see him on Robben's Island. I came back from South Africa trying to see Nelson Mandela and getting arrested for trying to see him on Robben's Island. He was in prison.
When I said arrested, I meant I was not able to move. Cops, Afrikaners would not let me go with them, made me stay where I was. I guess I wasn't arrested. I was stopped. I was not able to move where I wanted to go.
Here's the civil rights icon speaking at the funeral of a former KKK member who was also a senator, Robert Byrd.
To Robert C. Byrd was a parliamentary library, a keeper of the institution of the Senate, and he was the institution itself. But to me, and many people here today, like guys I see, Bill Bradley and Jim Sasser, who've long left the Senate, for greener pastures, and I hope better remuneration. We used to kid about that too, but for a lot of us, he was a friend, and he was a mentor, and he was a guide. I was talking downstairs. I've spent more time in the Bethel AME Church in Wilmington, Delaware, than I have than most people I know, black or white, have spent in that church. Because that's where I started. No, I'm serious. I started a civil rights movement.
More than once, advisors had gently reminded Mr. Biden of the problem with this formulation. He had not actually marched during the civil rights movement, and more than once, Mr. Biden assured them that he understood and kept telling the story anyway. That is really, really weird.
When I marched in the civil rights movement, I did not march with a 12-point program. I marched with tens of thousands of others to change attitudes. And we changed attitudes.
He lied to voters, according to the New York Times, quoting aides of Biden's, about having marched in the civil rights movement.
I got involved in the civil rights movement. I got involved in desegregated movie theaters. They organized voter registration drives. From the time I got involved as a high school kid in the civil rights movement. But I was a kid involved in the civil rights movement, desegregating restaurants and movie theaters in my state. From the time I got involved as a kid in the civil rights movement. Sit-ins and desegregating restaurants. And I got involved in the civil rights movement just as a kid. And that's why I got so deeply involved in my community with the civil rights movement. When I sat in black churches on the east side of Wilmington getting ready to, and by the way, next to two Jewish rabbis, getting ready to go out and desegregate movie theaters in Delaware. I come out of the civil rights movement. I start off in black churches and we'd go from there to desegregate movie theaters. For real, I got involved in the civil rights movement. From the time I've been 18 years old, I've been involved in causes from the civil rights movement. Got involved in the civil rights movement and desegregating restaurants, that kind of thing. Coming out of the civil rights movement and being involved in the Jewish community as a kid in the civil rights movement. I got involved in the civil rights movement and get ready to go out and desegregate restaurants and movie theaters. That's what got me involved in civil rights as a kid. I got very engaged, in my case, in the civil rights movement.
When I was 17 years old, like many of you, I participated in sit-ins to desegregate the restaurants and movie houses of Wilmington, Delaware. I came out of the civil rights movement. I was one of those guys that sat in and marched and all that stuff. During the 60s, I was, in fact, very concerned about the civil rights movement. I was not an activist. I worked at an all-black swimming pool in the east side of Wilmington, Delaware. I was involved. I was involved in what they were thinking, what they were feeling. I was involved, but I was not out marching. I was not down in Selma. I was not anywhere else.
I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.